here from the Schools Liaison team in LIT, and welcome to the latest of our online Q&A sessions. Today we're going to be focusing on courses in the Department of Information Technology, and shortly I will be chatting with my colleague Kelly O'Brien from the Department of IT to have a chat about courses in that area. So just while we're waiting on here, I just want to reinforce again that even though our physical campuses are closed at the moment, we're very much open online and available to answer any questions that students may have about courses at LIT over the next couple of weeks as you finalise your CAO choices. So I see Kelly is online there now. So hi Kelly, how are you doing?
Hi Anne, how's things? How are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for joining us today.
No bother, delighted to give me something to do.
Good stuff. So it's been a busy semester for you between moving your classes online, and I'm sure you're in the middle of correcting exams and everything as well.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So it's no, it's great to do this actually, something different as well to reach out to people and hopefully all our new students now come September.
Brilliant. And we've had a lot of questions in over the last couple of days as well about the courses that we offer in LIT in the IT area in both Limerick and in Thurles. So maybe you could start off with maybe giving us just a little bit of an overview about the different courses that you offer in the Department of IT.
Perfect, yeah. Okay, so the first course, which would be, I suppose, one of the main ones that you'd hear a lot about in computer science is software development. So software development kind of covers any level software. It might be web-based, it might be offline-based as well. You'll be doing programming languages such as Java, .NET, C#. You'll also do some database technologies, so using MySQL, there'll be some PHP in there. And the type of jobs then you can get would be software engineer, software developer. And what I suppose the software engineering side of it is, it's something called UML. It's UML based, and that basically means that you learn how to plan out software. So you might talk to a client, you'll sit down with them, you'll decide what they actually need from the software, and then you have the skills then to develop that further. The next one then is internet systems development, also called computing, and it's like software development but based more on delivering applications through the internet. So again, you'll have the same technologies. You'll have Java, you'll have MySQL, Python, PHP, and there's JavaScript as well, which would be more of a web-based technology. And both courses as well would do HTML, more some of the front-end stuff. Then we have computer networks and systems management. So this is the networking side of things. This is if you're into how the server side works, how I suppose sorry, now my phone is going over the place. So how the server. Oh, sorry, I'm sitting on a few books here. I'll just make myself
Go grand, okay. Relax.
But how the server side works, so you'll be creating networks, creating local area networks, creating wide area networks, setting up servers, updating servers. And what you'll be learning there then is you'll be doing some certifications in Cisco, you'll be learning Windows Server, Linux, and so on. Then we have the design side of things, and I suppose that's where my main area is. We have interactive digital media. And in that, we have some of the programming, so you'll be learning Java, JavaScript, web technologies, but you'll also be learning graphics modules, so you'll be using Adobe Creative Suite, you'll be using Photoshop, Illustrator, and we do 3D graphics as well with that, and digital video. So that's all in our Moylish campus. Then in the Thurles campus, so I'm based in the Moylish campus, but we're also in Thurles for any of you that know, we have games design and development. And that's very much like the computer software development side of things, but it's more based towards creating games. So not only are you learning Java, not only are you learning database design, but you're also learning things like Unity, OpenGL, and they're all games engines as well. So you'll be prepared for the world in, we'll say, games design, but also as a software developer. And last but not least, then there's the data analytics course, and that's based on encryption, making sure that the websites and the software applications are safe, and you learn a bit of data mining and security and so on. So that's just a brief overview of the IT department.
Great, that's fantastic, and a good insight into each of those. So probably, Kelly, the question that we get asked the most when we're meeting students at careers days and open days and school visits are around the maths. Do I need to have honours maths to study any of the IT courses in LIT?
No, you don't need honours maths. Maths, I suppose, is pushed because it's a very logical subject. You'd need to be, if you're doing okay in ordinary level maths, that's absolutely fine. I think the reason why really is maths is pushed, and you will do some maths in computer science, but it's quite minimal really, to a point, in that you want to be a problem solver, you want to be a logical thinker, and that's what programming and computer science is all about. We don't have anything at the moment in the Leaving Cert curriculum that's very, very close to computer science. So I think that's why maths comes up a lot. But once you're, maybe a bit of an engineer yourself, you like to problem solve, you like to work out bugs and things, that's the type of mindset you need to be.
Okay, so that's good. So that gives students an idea, because as you say, it is very different to anything that they learn in school as well. So sometimes there's that little bit of fear around, what am I going to be doing? And with the maths, if somebody is doing one of our IT courses and maybe they're struggling a little bit on maybe some of the programming modules and things like Java, is there extra support available that they can avail of?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's something called the Learning Support Unit up in LIT, and basically what happens is it's got tutors that are hired by LIT, so they're paid by LIT, and you will get, as a student, you get 4 free hours to go and to attend a tutor. Now sometimes there is funding there to allot for more hours, but if you're struggling with one of your modules or you're struggling with an area, you can go here. They'll have access to maybe some of your coursework, or they can talk to you, they can talk to the lecturer, and they can kind of give you that extra bit of support to help get you through any concepts that you don't understand. As well as that, in LIT, our class sizes wouldn't be too big. The largest that you would have in a class is 24. The average would be between, we might say, between 10 and 24. We get to know the students quite well. It's always, most of the time, it's in a lab setting, in a computer lab setting. So we try to help out as much as we can as well. So if you're having trouble, there's no problem with spending an extra 5 minutes, at the beginning or the end of class to try and figure out a problem as well.
Yeah, and that's really reassuring for the students to know that they're more than just a number when they come to LIT. Because of the small class sizes, the lecturers and the students are very much on first name terms. So you know all your students pretty well.
Absolutely, and it's great because it breaks down that barrier, and you can kind of, we can tell if people aren't getting it, or if people, they feel a bit more comfortable to approach us as well. So absolutely, there's really a nice environment there with LIT with that.
Yeah, so I think students very much feel like they're part of a community, when they come to us.
Definitely.
As well. I suppose one question that came in a couple of times as well over the last few days when we put the call out to people for questions was, do I have to have a laptop before I start an LIT?
Okay, so no, you don't have to have a laptop. We have all the facilities that you need. We have labs, we have a computer center, we have something called a sandbox, which is, it's a room that's just for the IT students off the main area in LIT. So if you've been to Moylish, if you haven't, I'll describe it for you. There's kind of the main foyer, I suppose, area in Moylish. It's called the street. You'll get used to it. You'll get used to it very quickly. And off to the side there's something called the sandbox, and that's for students to sit down, to relax. There's some computers in there. There's bean bags. If you have a laptop, you can plug in your laptop, and it's really a creative space for anyone studying any of the computing courses. I would recommend, if you can get a laptop, do get a laptop, especially with the current situation. It really, the rug was really pulled out from under our feet, both staff and students, with the COVID-19. And even though we have computers there for the students, we had some time now where students haven't been able to access the college, and they might not have been able to get certain software that they've been using. So if you can get a laptop, do get a laptop. If you can't, that's fine. Look, we have the services, and I'm sure come September there'll be we'll have something in place as well to get students
Absolutely.
sorted.
That's great. And as well as that, obviously, we have a great computer services department that can give students advice as well on what software to buy or to get uploaded on their laptops and things like that as well. And they'll find out all about that when they're going through the registration and induction, that kind of thing.
Absolutely, that's it. Yeah, absolutely.
So the courses in IT tend to be very practical and very hands-on, very applied. And I know each of the programs has a work placement built into them. So I suppose just to talk a little bit about the work placement, because again, we got a few questions in about that. How long is the placement for in third year? And does a student have to find it themselves? And is it generally paid? They're probably the three questions we get asked mostly about work placement.
The three big ones. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so the way third year is structured, your first year, your second year, and if you follow on to level 8, your fourth year are structured the same way, in that you'll have semester 1, semester 2. So semester 1 before Christmas, semester 2 after Christmas. Third year is structured differently. You have a semester 1, but the semester 1 carries from September to the end of March, or to the end of February, apologies. From March then until August, you're on work placement. So in third year, you won't have your Christmas exams at Christmas. You will have the semester 1 exams in February, just before you go off on work placement. So the work placement then, that starts generally first week of March. Sometimes it's paid. It's not necessarily, but you will be, the idea is that you will be getting the experience that you need, and that it will be in line with what you've been learning in college. The idea behind work placement is that you must find work placement yourself, but saying that the college and the staff and especially in the IT department, I suppose, from what I can talk about, have already great relationships built with companies. So companies come in, they'll do interviews in the college, or it can be organized. For example, I suppose, given the current situation, you know, Skype meetings can be organized, or it can be organized that students go to the company for interviews. And there's a select few companies, the likes of Kemp Technologies, I know, are there. ACI Worldwide would be another one, that they've taken on students every year for work experience. So it's up to you to do the work, to put in the work, get your CV ready, and, you know, do the interview. But there is help there in LIT as well. Yeah.
And that's really good experience as well for the job hunting that'll have to be done when you finish college as well. So that experience of putting a CV together and maybe having to do an interview, go through an interview process then as well. So that's very valuable for students. And that work placement then is fantastic in, you know, helping them to learn new skills that they can bring back to their fourth year of the course and apply to final year projects and things like that as well.
That's it. And not only that, I mean, we always find that once students come back after work placement, it's everything almost clicks. So it's great, very valuable. And a lot of the times what happens is companies will keep these students on. So they'll say, okay, you're going back to fourth year. When you finish fourth year, you know, there's a job here for you when you come back as well. And it's absolutely great.
That's brilliant. That's fantastic as well. You mentioned there at the start when you were talking about the work placement about semesters. Could you, I suppose that terminology is a little bit different to maybe what students are used to. Could you maybe give us a little bit more information on how the modules are structured? What does it mean by semesters? And you know, how the exams are structured?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so as I mentioned there, for first year, second year, and fourth year, you will have 2 semesters in your year. In the first semester, that will take you from generally, we'll say, the second week of September until around the second week of December. Then you will have your Christmas exams. So up to that point, you'll have 6 modules. They could be, you know, it could be, you might, for example, you might be doing SQL, you might have, in first year, you'll have Introduction to Java and object-oriented programming and so on. So you do your Christmas exams at Christmas then, and then you're into semester 2 when you come back after Christmas. That generally starts around second week of January. And that brings you up then to after the Easter break. So Easter, I know, falls differently every year. You're looking at around the end of April. And then you'll have the summer exams. And they will be 6 more modules in semester 2. So some of them might be carry-ons. You might have you know, Programming 2 or Java Fundamentals 2, but you might have different ones as well. Then there's repeats as well. So sometimes, you know, something happens and you might not necessarily get the exam the first time around. So what will happen in that case is, if you are in a case where you have failed some modules, is that there will be repeats then in August. So they generally happen the end of August. And what happens then is that the idea is that you'll do the repeat, you'll be ready to start in September then again into the next year with your course, all going well, that's passed as well. And that's just to say for the modules that there are exams. There aren't necessarily exams in every module. Some of them will have what we call 100% continuous assessment, which means it will all be project work. So it will be classwork that you do, it will be assignments. You might do a few what we call Moodle quizzes, so little online class quizzes that we do. So it won't necessarily just be exams as well.
Yeah, and that's, I suppose, good to know for Leaving Cert students as well, that, you know, when you come to college, it won't all be assessed on, like traditionally the Leaving Cert would be just one big set of exams at the end of the year. So for students who are going to class, doing their work, doing their assignments, it's a much better system to operate in.
Definitely, definitely. And you can gauge yourself as well. And, you know, we can gauge you, how you're getting on as well. And, you know, it's really, it's a bit more about how you're getting on with the whole semester as opposed to that really big, you know, and even with exams, with modules that have exams, they will have assignments as well. So the exam might be worth, it's different now across different modules, but it might be worth 40% in one module, and you might have, you know, 40% assignment also to go with that. So you might, if you're not good at exams, you might be very good at project work. You might do absolutely brilliantly in the project and so on. So there is, you know, there's different ways of getting those results.
Good stuff, good stuff. Now, just looking down through just another few of the questions that came into us, Kelly, and this one came in from Connor, and he said, I'd like to become a web designer after college. So what would be the best IT course for me to look at in LIT?
Brilliant, okay. So with web design, I suppose there's two kind of elements to web design. There's the design side, which is, let's call it the creative side. And then there's more of the technology side. They're quite interlinked. So if you were to look at a course like software development or internet systems design, you'd be looking at really how the website works. Now, you'll also have the front end. You will do some HTML. You'll learn how to build a website, you know, through and through. You'll have your database backend, you know, you'll be able to build an e-commerce site if you want, your own shop site, whatever you want. If you're more creative and it's more the actual design side of things that you like, then you'd be looking at IDM, interactive digital media. Now, you also learn all the technology you need to learn there. So there's Java programming, there's your database design, but there's a lot of modules then based on what makes good design good. You know, why does a button appear on a certain part of the screen on a web page? Why would a mobile website be structured differently to a website? And it's all about human users. So as I said, it depends what you're looking for. If you're really looking for more of the technology side of things, you know, getting the technology working that you can maybe apply in different fields as well, you'd be looking at software development or internet systems design. And if you want to work away with Photoshop, you know, maybe even work in augmented reality or virtual reality as well, you'd be looking at interactive digital media design.
Good stuff. So hopefully, Connor, that answers your question. And just for anybody who's maybe late joining us today, I'm chatting with Kelly O'Brien from our Department of IT. So if you have any questions at all on our IT courses in LIT, do make sure to get them into us over the next while, and we'll do our best to get through them. As I said, we've had a lot of queries in from students about the courses in this area. Another question that we got in, Kelly, was, are there good opportunities to travel when you have a computing degree?
Absolutely. So the great thing, I suppose, about learning programming languages is they're the same all over the world. There's a constant skills shortage in IT, and that's in Ireland, that's worldwide, that's the UK, America, everywhere. Not only can not only will you have the skills to pick up a job in another country, you would be in a situation where you could get a job in Ireland and you can work from wherever you want in the world. So all you need is your laptop, good internet connection, and you know, people can work from, you know, America, Scandinavia, Spain, wherever they want to work for, and their job will be here in Ireland. So absolutely, there's definitely great opportunities to travel with the IT sector.
And I suppose we're all seeing that at the moment as well, having to get used to working from home, and you know, our laptops have become a very essential part of everyday life for all of us.
Absolutely. That's it.
I just see a question coming in here from Rob Seeley, and Rob has asked, what books or apps do you learn in first year of the interactive digital design course.
Okay, so
I presume
first
you
year would,
mean the interactive digital media, maybe. I'm not quite sure.
that's probably, I'd say it is, yeah. So absolutely. So your first year, what we'll be looking at is you'll be starting programming. So the first thing, is the very basics of Java. We'll also be getting you kind of versed in the idea of using Photoshop for graphic design. So, what makes good design good in general, more so outside of, we'll say, app design, web design. Once you kind of have a basic and a handling of that, we'll also be looking at, I suppose, basic SQL. As that first year or second year, that might be the second semester, or it might be the first semester or second year. But first year is just all about the fundamentals of the technologies that you'll be using. If you're looking for, I suppose, kind of something to do over the summer, just to give you a small bit of a head start, the first thing that everyone does in programming is something called a Hello World application. So do that in Java. The Hello World, it's famous amongst the programming world, and that's for anyone actually who's thinking of coming to do IT. If you're looking for something over the summer, Java is probably the most taught across the IT department. Do Hello World. Do it in a few other languages as well, and just get used to the idea of what's happening when you code, how the syntax works, what kind of wording you'll be using, why and it's very small. It's only about, depends now what you're coding it in, but you're looking at about 5 lines of code maybe at the most. But I hope that answers your question. It's the real basics is what you'd be doing in first year, absolutely. Just getting used to the technologies and how they work and the different languages as well.
That's brilliant. And again, just reinforcing, we don't expect students to have any prior knowledge or experience, that we start completely from foundation level, from the basics, absolutely, and build it up from there. One of the things I suppose that's very important to us in LIT as well, Kelly, is practical learning. And it's something that we reinforce across every course in LIT, and a chance to get involved maybe in industry competitions and events and different things like that. Is there an opportunity within the IT department to get involved in any sort of competitions, to get something like that on your CV while you're studying in LIT as well?
Absolutely, there is, yeah. So there'll be various different competitions now turn up over it. I know on the design side, we have a few that pop up. There's the design, the design IMS, I think it is, or something along that. I can't think of the name of it now. I can put up a link anyway if needs be. But what we generally do is we will encourage, it's more so I suppose for later on when you're in third year, fourth year, maybe the fourth years, we'll encourage any fourth years who are doing very interesting projects, FYPs, to actually, if they can, to submit their work to these competitions as well. So not only are they working away on their final year project and trying to get the grade, but also it's gone into like a national competition. If it might do well, absolutely. We also will have a show off as well, an end of the year show off of work. So you can demo your work, everyone can come in, can visit, see how it is. So there's real chance to kind of shine and show your side as well.
Great. So everyone gets a chance to put themselves in the shop window as such while they're studying as well.
And I must say as well about the whole idea of the final year project as well, especially in amongst the other courses, is it's your chance to really delve into something that you find interesting. So if you like something like virtual reality, or you like artificial intelligence, or you like security and encryption, it's your chance to take what you've learned for the previous 3 years, because you'll be in fourth year at this stage, and apply it to something that you really want to create yourself and show off at the end yourself. So it is a great opportunity.
Good, that's brilliant. Thanks a million. Now, this one might be putting you on the spot a little bit because it mightn't necessarily be your area, but we got a question in from Andrew Horgan, and he was wondering, what's a typical day like for a computer network student? So kind of what the timetable would be like, that sort of thing.
Perfect. Okay, so look, across the courses, the timetable would be quite similar. Our students stay in the IT department. So the way the college works is classes will happen between 9 and 6 Monday to Friday. That doesn't mean you're going to be on from 9 to 6 necessarily. There'll be breaks during the day. Some days you might start at 1 and finish at 4. Other days you might start at 9 and finish at 3. So it's quite, it's chopped and blocked. You'll have, some of them will be lecturers. Some of them will be practicals. Now what we do as a department is we don't have too many lectures where you're just in a classroom looking at a board. A lot of them are lab lectures, which works well, especially with the computing side of things, where you will be in a lab, would be able to lecture, but you're able to do practical work as well. You're in front of a computer, so it works very well. So sometimes you might have a 2-hour lab lecture or a lab or a practical. You might have a 1 hour. So 1 hour is the shortest. If they're put together, then you might have 3 hours on one of the longest. You might, then in your free time, you might go to the computer center. So that's just underneath the library in LIT. It's again off the street, is what we call it in Moylish, the main area. So you can access any computers there to do work if you want to do that. Again, you might go across the corridor there, the large area, to the sandbox and hang out in there. As I said, there's bean bags, there's tables, there's also computers in there, and you might, you know, chill out with some of your friends there. And then LIT also has the canteen, it has the Students' Union, it has 2 Starbucks now, I think, as well, which is great. So for those times out during the day when, you know, you're between classes, you will be around, you'll be working with some of them together, maybe in group projects, you'll be relaxing, hopefully, as well. Some night, there are nice times to relax as well in the college. And that's generally across, that would be across the IT department is what you'd be looking at.
Brilliant, that's super. So Andrew, hopefully that answers your question as well. I suppose when you think a little bit, Kelly, about IT companies, you think maybe the big multinational corporations, you know, a lot of them have set up a base in Ireland. So you have your Google and Twitter and Facebook, all of those sort of companies. And maybe that might seem scary for some students that, you know, I don't really want to work in a big multinational environment like that. Maybe they don't want to go to Dublin. Are there other opportunities across other sectors or with other types of companies for IT graduates as well?
Absolutely. Now, the great thing is, yeah, you always hear straight away about the Googles like that and the Dublin, going up to Dublin. But there's actually a huge skills shortage in the IT department in the Midwest region, which is our region. So when you think about, I know there'd be big companies now, but I'll stick with them just for a moment. You have the likes of Jaguar, Land Rover out in Shannon. You have you know, Intel. You have, there's a lot of companies this side of the country that lose a lot of talent to Dublin because most people just, I think they put their eyes on Dublin when they come out of college. You also have very small startup companies that might only be, you know, a couple of years old, 5 years old maybe, who are really, they'd be a company size of between 10 and, you know, 20, 30 people. They'd be looking constantly for people. I know, is it Avio, were hiring, are constantly hiring actually out of LIT, and they were, I think it was them. They were based in LIT long ago when they really started up there. They're based in the city centre somewhere, and you have WordPress as well. I think are also based as well in the city. So it's not just a case of resigning yourself to, I'm going to be working for one of these big multinationals. You could very much end up working in a nice small little office somewhere in Limerick City or Shannon or wherever it is that you want to go in the Midwest region. Maybe, you know, 10 people in the company and you're looking after maybe the tech side. And I also must mention as well, what happens with a lot of students when they go into the workplaces, they do get training. So if the company is using a certain type of software that's different to what they were using in college, they will be trained on it and they will learn new things as well, but they will be trained. They won't expect to kind of hit the ground running. They will be given the information that they need to go with it.
Brilliant, that's super. And you know, IT is so important to you know, the modern world that we live in, and I suppose has changed how we communicate as well. So as I said, every company right across the country needs IT people, as you've said there as well. Now we've got nearly getting to, I think, at the end of the questions that have come in. With the Internet Systems Development course, I know most of our courses are offered at level 8, Kelly, but with the Internet Systems Development, it's available at level 8 and also at level 7. So if somebody decides to do the level 7 first, is there a minimum grade that they need to get before they can go on into the level 8, before they can progress into the 4th year of the level 8?
No, so all you need to do is you need to pass all your modules and your work placement. Look, to pass work placement, just, you know, don't annoy your workers. Be a good worker. Turn up to work. You know, do it. That's absolutely fine. There are situations, and for example, given our situation at the moment, where if you can't get work placement, or like what's happened now, some students have been in a situation where the work has had to let them go because they can't have people in the offices, where you would be given project work. So that's absolutely fine as well. And the lecturers look after that, give you training courses and college work to do over the summer. Once you've passed all your third year modules, that's fine then. You can continue, then you can progress into your level 8, which is your 4th year.
Great, that's super. Thanks a million for that. This is a really interesting question that has come in as well. I'm a girl thinking of studying IT, but I've always thought of IT and computing as a boys' course. Is this true?
Okay, so and this has come up quite a lot actually in recent years. So I suppose looking back about 20, 30 years ago, it was always 50-50. There was, there was as many women as there were men doing computer science. Sadly, that's really dropped off now in recent years. And it seems to be kind of a running trend that it really is kind of assumed to be a boys' area, and it's really not true at all. There are less women in IT. Companies want women if they see, and that's not to be going anything against the boys, of course. Look, if you're a boy doing IT, you'll have all the opportunities. But for women doing IT, companies do want to hire women because they need to see that equality come into companies. So there's a lot of I know Dell, for example, host a day for women looking to get into IT every year, and they hold seminars, very interesting talks. So there's a really nice community built around it, and it's really as I said, I push any girl who's thinking about doing it to go into it. Absolutely. I mean, it's not just a case of you don't have to be into the games or that side of things. You might be into the design side. You might love making apps. You might be an engineer who just likes problem solving, and it works out for you. Absolutely. So it's very much it's an equal opportunity area.
So definitely we need more females in IT. And I think even as you said at the start, even thinking about the type of personality somebody has, if you're somebody, if you're a female that's a good logical thinker, good problem solver, good at working in teams, absolutely no reason why you wouldn't be suited to a career and a course in IT.
Absolutely. No, that's it. Absolutely. It really is. It's not just a case of, as I said, oh, look, it's you need to be into your games and you need to know. You're going to start off in first year. Everyone's in the same boat, learning new things together. So, and there's the female coders and the male coders. They're as good as each other. So, absolutely. Good
to hear. So Kelly, you've been fantastic in answering all those questions that we've got in. And I suppose I'm going to put you on the spot now with one last one. I suppose it's been a difficult couple of months for the class of 2020 and for Leaving Cert students with everything that has happened. But I suppose as somebody who has come out the other side of it yourself, gone through the Leaving Cert, being in college and working in the education sector now, what advice would you give to somebody that is in that situation now and that's looking at going to college this year?
Okay, so yeah, it's very tough, very tough. And I suppose, when I look back on my own journey, I was starting right at the last recession. I was in college, it's that feeling of you don't know what the world's looking at. The thing about IT is everyone's always going to need IT. We're moving forward constantly in the digital age. If you look around, everything's getting automated. Our computers are being brought into our lives in a way that they never were there before. We have computers now in our pockets. The future is still quite bright in the IT sector. You've learned very interesting things. You can once you have the skills, you can drive it into any area you want. As I mentioned before, there's, you can have a look and see what the different technologies out there. But if you like augmented reality, virtual reality, you can go into it. If you like AI, you can go into it. If you like hacking and encryption, you can go into it. Absolutely. And these industries aren't slowing down anytime soon. So it's all about keep the chin up and look to the future. It's been a tough year, but it'll all be worth it when you come out in 2024, and the world will be hopefully very different and a much happier place as well, and much more optimistic.
Absolutely, for sure. And I think, as you said, the nature of the IT industry, it's changing so fast that students may be coming out and going into jobs that haven't even been invented yet. Absolutely. It's changing that quickly.
Absolutely, yeah, no, that's yeah, absolutely. And as I said, there's new companies anytime if you listen to the news and they set up the IT companies that come into Ireland, I think every year they're growing.
Brilliant, that's super. Kelly, listen, thank you so much for joining us today and for answering all of those questions as well. We put you on the spot with a few of them there as well. For anybody watching, If you have any questions maybe that you think of after today that you didn't get a chance to send in to us, just message us through any of our social media channels. You can drop us an email at schools@lit.ie, or there's also a chat box on every course page on our website as well, and you can submit a question through that. If you know anybody that might be interested in IT and in courses at LIT, and maybe they didn't get a chance to catch our chat today with Kelly, this video will be on obviously on our Instagram stories for the next while, and also it'll be available on our website and our YouTube channel over the next couple of days as well. So I'm going to sign off for now. Say thanks again to Kelly for joining us today, and good luck to everybody, and we'll speak to you all soon. So take care and have a nice weekend.
Cheers, and thanks a million.
Thanks, Kelly.